don't know about y'all, but I'm ready for some medicine. Happy Thanksgiving, or as I learned this past weekend, happy Thanksgiving. Because every day we live and to give thanks to Him. So we still celebrating. It ain't over. But I don't know about y'all. Come on now. Are you ready for some medicine? Today's prescription comes from Proverbs chapter 1, verse 5. And it says, let a wise person listen and increase learning. Let a wise person do this in order to increase that. Well, what does it tell us to do? I mean, everybody want to increase learning. I do want to get smarter. I do want to get a little bit wiser. And the Lord said, listen. You know what the reality of that is? That is sometimes so simple it goes over our head. That's it. Because the assumption is that we all assume that we're good listeners, that we actually listen. But I actually would make the argument that we're not. Have you ever thought about this in the book of James, right? Book of James, chapter 1. Let me turn to it real quick. James, chapter 1. And I was just thinking about this for our morning medicine. In James, chapter 1, around the 22nd verse, the Lord says, let me find it. I just lost it. Oh, there it is. I'm sorry, around the 19th verse. My dear brothers and sisters, understand this. Everyone should be quick to listen and slow to speak. I'm just going to stop right there. Have you ever thought about this? Why does God tell us that everyone should be quick to do this? Everyone includes everybody. Why does He tell us that we should be quick to do this? Because it's so contrary to our being. It's contrary to us to be good listeners. It's contrary to us to be quicker to listen. It's more of us to be quicker to speak, to be quicker to get our point across, to be quicker to prove my point, to be quicker to voice my opinion. That's why even with the freedom of speech that we have in America, it just is all over the place. Because everybody feels they have a right to say what they want to say, when they want to say it, however they want to say it. And that goes from the president to the lowest level in our society. Everybody feels that they have the right to say what they want to say, and that becomes the precedence over everything. And what that just shows is that we're just going more into our very own nature. I got a freedom to say whatever I want to say. I got the freedom to say however I want to say it, to whomever I want to say it. And what social media has given us now, we can say it with a veil. I can say it and never have to face it. It gave us a platform that we now really don't have to listen. I can just post and don't even have to stay there to listen to anything you have to say. But guess what? You better hear what I have to say. What I'm just telling you is it's a scheme of the enemy to get us away from being quicker to listen. Why? Because if I don't learn to listen, I'll never begin to listen and learn. I repeat that. If I don't learn to listen, then I'll never get to a place where I learn, where I listen, that I may learn. Because what God is teaching us is to be able to listen. Because there's things that he still wants to teach us. And I got to train or even incline my ears to be able to listen, to hear his voice, that I don't miss whatever he's trying to teach me in that moment. And that's why God said, I have to renew your mind in the way that we approach things, because we approach things from speaking, then listening. God said, no, no, no. I need you to listen before even you have the permission to speak. Because first I need to make sure you get it so you can have it, so what you're saying can be from the right place. It can be from a place of wisdom of what you learned instead of in ignorance of what I'm trying to have you unlearn. He says, let a wise person listen, therefore, to do what? Increase their learning. And I'm wondering how many times, how many days, or in how many things God has been speaking to me, yet because I'm not in a posture to listen, I missed the message. Or I'm too much into my opinion to get it out. And that's why nothing can come in. And I'm saying for this morning medicine, the Lord is very intentional when he speaks these words. Verse 8 in Proverbs chapter 1 says, listen, my son, to your father's instruction and don't reject your mother's teaching. He says, listen to your father's instructions, because if you don't listen, you'll reject the teaching, because you're not in a place to learn. All you're concerned about is airing out your own opinions. All you're concerned is getting your point across, that you're missing what I'm actually trying to communicate to you. You're missing the point. You're missing that I didn't even give you permission to say anything. Did you notice that in James chapter 1, if you go and read that verse in verse 19, it says, listen, be slow, quicker to listen, slow to speak. And then it says slow to anger. See, the reason why I get angry like that is because I'm not listening. Because my speech is coming from what I'm allowing to fill my heart. But God said, if you would listen first, then I would empty the things that's trying to fill your heart. Therefore, you won't get angry. Because you're listening and I'm showing you where the true battle is. It's not flesh and blood, no, it's spirit. You're hearing me because I may be telling you some things about a particular situation that you can't see it. Because all you're doing is caught up in how and what they're doing. Therefore, you cannot hear what I'm doing because you're blinded by what you see. So how could I learn? And I'm just saying for this morning medicine, I really want us to take heed, to learn to listen. How intentional am I to listening? And sometimes, even in these conversations we have day to day, it's actually a sign unto us of where I am with listening. Let me just give you a couple examples. Have you ever find yourself when you're having a conversation with somebody? Are you in your phone? Have you come to that place that you actually think that you can do two things at one time? Yeah, I'm listening, but you're working on your computer, doing your homework. What that's showing you is you're distracted, so you're actually not listening. You're picking up on things, but listening is actually being tuned in, giving them my fullness. They don't have one ear, but they have both ears. And I'm saying what that shows us is a symbol of our relationship with God, because I'm showing that I don't really hear God with both ears. I only hear him with one. In other words, I'm distracted by other things in my other ear. Two things are going on at the same time, and that leads nothing to but confusion. That's why I miss some things, because I'm not fully paying attention. I'm not fully engaged. The Lord said, listen to my son and your father's instruction, and don't reject your mother's teaching, for they will be a garland of favor on your head. I'm missing out on the favor because I rejected the teaching. Well, how did I reject the teaching? In your listening. I'm rejecting the teaching because I'm not fully engaged with my listening. God is trying to speak, but I'm showing God he's not priority because he doesn't have my full attention. And I'm showing that when God shows us in our day-to-day relationships, that's actually a reflection of our relationship with him. Or do you do it like me? We sometimes give listening based on the relationship of that person. And God said, no, 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 no. See, it doesn't work like that. And I'm saying God had to free me of that. Let's say if it's person A, it's my kids, I'm tuned in. But if it's person B, I'm not. Did you know what that means? I become selective of my listening. That's not true listening. Listening is not selective. For those that have ears to hear, let them hear. Not for those that have ears to hear, let them tune in with who they want to tune in and tune out who they want. No, 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 because God can always speak, and I got to be inclined to my ears to always be mindful of to catch what he's trying to speak. But what that does, or what it shows, that I can begin to be selective when it comes to God. And God is saying something I want to hear, then I hear it. But if he's saying something that nah, I'm not feeling that, I'll not hear it. I'll tune myself out of it. Because why? I've become disciplined of being selective when it comes to hearing, and it reflects my relationship. But that's not true listening. It's not selective. It gives attentive because it understands that God can speak through whatever and whomever. I just got to make sure that I'm getting the message. I got to make sure that my ears are inclined to hear in the day-to-day things that he allows me to encounter. But if I've built up these disciplines in me, then guess what I'm doing? I'm actually decreasing my opportunity to learn. So I'm just saying, for our morning medicine, where are you at with listening? Because some of us right now may be in that place where we think we're listening, but you're actually not. You're not a good listener. Do you actually listen what's actually being said? Are you fully locked in? Because I'm telling you, one thing about listening, if we don't allow ourselves to be fully inclined and learn to listen as God has gave us or showed us to listen, we can miss things that we shouldn't be missing. If I'm not locked in when my child comes to me and speaks to me, then I can miss some vital details. And those vital details could be catastrophic. And it's the same way that God teaches us. When we cry to God, God says, I hear everything you said. because you have my ear. And we are supposed to take on that same characteristic, that we learn how to listen how God listens, not how I've disciplined or trained myself to listen actually is a sign that I'm really truly not listening. So I got it. But I want us to remember that we learn to listen so that we can become to listen that we may learn. So in our day to day, I ask you that question: how are you listening? Learn to listen so I can become a good listener that I might learn. I don't want to miss out on what God's trying to teach me. I'm telling y'all, brothers and sisters, there's some lessons that we can't afford to miss. This is your morning medicine. Day to day, the question is, how good am I listening? I'm telling you, brothers, sisters, if we learn this aspect, it has the ability to change relationships just by me learning to listen so that I can become a good listener that I may learn whatever God is trying to teach. This is your morning medicine.